Catches, puts up a three. One go. Rebound box.
Now head over in this direction. Gone to three.
Tie game with 5 seconds remaining. The impossible has happened.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
Anthony for three. Puts it in. Bridges. Oh my God. Oh, what? Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection. Curry way downtown. Bang! Bang!
And we're back. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Cam's Corner. Today, joining me is none other than Umass Dartmouth starting quarterback and offensive rookie of the year in the Massachusetts State Collegiate Athletic Conference. Guys, help me in welcoming Dante Aviles-Santos to the show. Thank you for joining me, Dante. How you been, man?
I'm good, bro. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be a part of this. I just wanted to give you a little shout out, starting your own thing. Kudos to you, bro. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime. I appreciate it so much. And incredible work from you this season. I know last year was canceled due to COVID. It's starting to spike up again, like we just said. So kind of start us off there. Like how's your mindset been going into this past season?
Yeah, so it was kind of a lot of things because I'm technically coming in as just like a freshman on the field,
right.
And we already had a senior at quarterback, so I was kind of coming in, just thinking we're gonna learn from the guy, and he's well respected, he's well known, a lot of people in the conference feared him, so to be able to come in and be under a guy of that stature, it was pretty cool on my end, I had some great battles, with me and Matt. He kept me pushing every day. Because, obviously Steve was our guy. So every day, I felt like me and Matt had to push each other to be the best we could because we knew there could be a chance where either one of us stepped in the game, So, with the season getting canceled, it was tough to really, stay on everything just as everyone was going through that same problem, So I kind of had to just go off the muscle and the love for the game, just to really keep going and keep telling myself, it's going to be over. You're going to get that chance. You guys are going to be able to play. And then we finally got the ability to play in the fall. So like I said, coming in under Steve, you don't really think you're going to play too much. So I was really trying to just up my knowledge for the game because the dude's really just a freak for the game and just knows it like the back of his hand, So coming into that, it was pretty cool all throughout camp, just getting his little insights on how he views things, how he goes about things, down and distances, just, little nicks and knacks that I can, add my own little flair to as I take those in. And then we go down to Husson, I'm thinking, wow, it's first college game, overnight trip with the guys. So it was a crazy experience. And then to think that, 17, 20 minutes into the game, I'd end up playing and ultimately playing for the rest of the season. So I would have never thought of that. And I'm honestly just grateful and blessed to be in this position, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt. Did anything ever go through your mind, COVID might cancel it and the season might get ended? Cause I know that has started to play in a lot of players' mindsets because of what's going on now and things like that.
Yeah. But I mean, in the fall, it was weird because even with COVID, it felt like everything was at a normal, state with everything, even with COVID, because we had some mask policies that we had to follow and guidelines, but really other than that, they allowed us to, just play how we play. And they didn't put us on pause. They didn't, postpone anything. And that's also a credit to the other teams in our conference because, if a guy on a different team tests positive, you don't know how many kids from that team go down. And,
right. It's the whole roller coaster
exactly,
of effects.
The whole
Sucks.
Contact tracing, all that stuff. So, not having to deal with that kind of was a blessing, especially, it being outside with all of the fans. You would think that they would minimize some fan attendance or whatever, but they didn't. They just let us ball, and we were kind of just taking it week by week, just obviously we love the fans and we love everything, but if there comes a point where it's just us and the other team on the field, that's just how it has to be, just like everyone's going through that. We might have to be one of those teams to eventually go through that.
Exactly. You got to pray that next season, nothing else happens again. But like I said, this season, historical season from you. I know you said you've seen some of my episodes. I like to start off every episode, kind of getting into players' youths and like how they started like growing up and stuff like that. So I know we talked a little bit yesterday about it. What was like growing up in Cumberland, Rhode Island? What was like playing like a plentiful amount of sports like for you?
Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, I started in Providence, Pawtucket area. That's where I'm originally from. So I grew up playing for the Fairlawn Cardinals over here down on the west side of Pawtucket, and I kind of just grew there. That's where I kind of, I started playing. I started off as a running back, and then one year my dad goes, he was our coach at the time, and he goes like, "Listen, we need a quarterback." He's talking to me and a couple of guys after practice one day. I'm just like, I mean, Dad, you played quarterback, because I obviously, like, I knew my dad and his background. I'm like, hey, you played quarterback. How hard would it be for me to play quarterback? So that was like a year or two after I first started playing, and I kind of never looked back after that. And then it was really fun. And then having to move to Cumberland, it kind of was a blessing. Not a blessing, but obviously a blessing. I just want to say, like,
more opportunities, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was definitely more opportunities, and it was definitely just a big culture change for me as well, because I want to say I was just going from the inner city, and then you're moving to like a town. It was just a big adjustment for me. And the moment that I I got in tune with everything, from playing basketball and playing football up there, it was really fun. I mean, I never really, the only thing I'll say about youth sports is like although I like lived in Cumberland for majority of it, I really like hadn't played, like town baseball or rec basketball in Cumberland. I actually I would play like in different cities. So I played rec basketball in like middle school, and in like North Providence. I played baseball over by Slater Park. I played a little soccer when I was younger, but that's those 2 years really don't count. But other than that, it was really just football over here at Fairlawn, and basketball just wherever I could pick up a ball and shoot it, to be honest.
So you said you played, obviously basketball, football. So like the other kind of sports you played were just baseball, soccer, like nothing more than that.
Yeah, no, I was gonna try and get into lacrosse, but I was like, that's way too much. I'm doing too much for myself right there.
Right. Plus at a young age and everything like that. But like going back to like basketball, football, like when did your youth days start? Like as far as like programs, and what types of teams did you get yourself into, like involved in at a young age?
Word. So I would say from the time I could pick up a football, my brother was already playing football at the time for the Cardinals. So by the time I could pick up a football, I was just at every practice. I'm like, when am I going to be able to play? So I started playing football the moment that I was able to play, the moment like the age was available.
Yep.
And then as far as basketball, same thing, just the moment I could pick up a basketball, I started to play. The moment they allowed a certain age into leagues and stuff, my parents put me in, and really I after that I can't look back. I never looked back, and I just kept it pushing.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we used to have some battles during AAU for basketball.
Facts.
Like those we talk about, and that's what like kind of shaped me and like kind of made me into like the person I am, like just having that passion for sports, and especially basketball.
Exactly.
I had a story. I remember the first time, like one of my first games with that like A team, I guess you could call it, for the Breakers. Was coached by Anthony Missoula. Dan Missoula, he was my coach.
Yeah. God rest his soul, man. God rest his soul.
For sure. Great, and so yeah, his brother was the coach. And I think it was like my 7th grade year. We played you guys. Like there was a bunch of different Breakers teams. And my friend Jay, you've probably seen him on the podcast a couple of times. I do like sit downs with him and Tom, my friend Tom, close friends. Yeah, so 7th grade, he went up for a layup and he like completely missed it, like didn't even hit the rim. Yeah. And I remember you were like, Kinker, and he got so mad. And like I just always remember that in my head. Like that's how like that was like my first like memory of you, and like going back and like DMing you, and I was like, those were like that's where it all kind of started. Like
no, seriously, definitely. Those I want to say, like, it's funny because those years, like, we really, like, we didn't lose a lot of games, and but like the games that they were competitive, and like that way they did go down to the wire. They for some reason always seemed to go down with that Breakers team, and we're just gonna state the obvious. The elephant in the room here is that 1-3-1. We just could not figure it out. I don't know. You guys just had all the right pieces to play at each part of that 1-3-1. So I think, honestly, I'm just gonna have to say I think we just had the more athletic guys. We just got up and down the court super fast, as you remember, man. Yeah. There weren't really too many teams in our tournaments that would be able to stay in front of us. Like, we got to credit that to our coach Lottie back in the day, man.
Yep.
He really got us grinding every day. I remember us doing this thing called 32 minutes of hell. We'd show up to practice like 8 a.m. on like a weekend. So like Saturday, you're like in middle school, 8 a.m. And the first thing you do is it's literally 32 minutes of hell. So we would do like 17s. We would do suicides. We would do laps. We would have to, we'd be baseline, set the ball at like the foul line area. And we'd have to like dive for the ball on like the hardwood floor early in the morning. And we had to do all this. It might sound a little crazy, but we did all this like 32 minutes of grind with like 75-degree heat. He would turn up the heat, and then we'd have like no water until we finished. So it kind of just built us all up. You know, if you look at guys like Angel, Amir, Sebastian, all these guys who are doing phenomenal with their game. It kind of all gets credit back to those, you know, fundamental and foundation days back then when we were all just like babies. And then Lottie, you know, just training us and listen, it's all mental. You guys got to be able to be mentally tough, go through adversity. And then we kind of all just, you know, took that our own ways. And then when we all went our own ways after middle school, it kind of just took off. And shout out to all those guys.
Yeah, definitely. I know I had Lottie in like probably either 5th or 6th grade. And like, obviously I wasn't anything. I was, you know, growing up in middle school and high school, but he was like my first like official like AAU coach. So like I didn't go through like those kind of sessions that you guys did, but like, you know, having the chance to be coached by, you know, Dan Missoula, like I had similar like stuff.
No,
so,
completely
understand. Yeah, completely understand like all that like hard work you had to go through at a young age to build your character as the athlete you are today. But so, you know, going back to like football and stuff like that, growing up, what sport did you feel like you were better at, like growing up, like basketball or football?
That's tough. Like I never really was able to like delineate between the two, because it was really dependent on what season I was in. Like if I'm at basketball, I would fall into a mode where it's like, damn, like I love basketball. Like this is crazy. And then as soon as that's over, like basketball is a sport that's like always there for you. You know, you can pick it up like inside, you can pick it up outside, wherever you are. But football is really like a sport where you kind of gotta make it your own. Like, how am I trying to say this? I don't know. You kind of got to put your passion to it. Honestly, you can't. It's not always going to be there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go out and get it every day. As far as like football only being like one game per week, there's so much preparation that goes into that, and you got to fall in love with that. Like that's what I learned about playing football, man. Is like the game is pretty easy once you prepare for it at the correct level with the correct mindset and all those good things. But like to say between the two it's like tough, because like I said, like in season I'm in football, and even like the off season when I'm off for both, it's kind of like, what are you doing for football? Because football comes up first. That's obviously that's how like the roadie sports go. It's like football, basketball, and then like so with that swing of things, it's obviously like as soon as basketball's over, I'm like, okay, now it's football season. Yeah, and exactly. It sucks because like you don't really get much of a break from football to basketball. So it was like you kind of just fell in right into that routine of like, okay, football's over, now it's basketball for a little bit, and then you're going right back to football, because you know basketball's always going to be in like the hindsight mirror. You're always going to be able to just turn around and go to practice here and there, but football is only like, you know, a seasonal thing. Right. So bouncing off of that, how come, you know, once you got to the high school level, like how did you decide that you wanted to continue all like both of those sports throughout all 4 years of high school? That's just like the love for each game, you know. That's just wanting to play, and your parents always telling you, you know, don't just force yourself to play one sport. You know what I mean? Try everything out, experience it. Life is all about experiences, and the more things that you can experience, the more fun you're gonna have. And I can't say that I didn't have more fun playing in high school. You know, I had to start out as a wide receiver when I started playing varsity. My freshman year, played quarterback. But when I transferred back to Cumberland, I ended up, you know, going back to wideout for a little bit. But like, and then as far as basketball, being able to play with a guy like Tyler Cole, like Jackson Zankin, and then even my freshman year, watching guys like Jaywan, Peter, Trevante. And then football wise, a guy like Jalen Encarnacion. There were so many guys in my young days as an athlete within high school that just like it's all a credit to them, and it was just a pleasure to like watch and be a part of all those teams, because it was just like really cool.
Yeah, and of course, like for me, like an outsider kind of looking back at it, it's like so many like room for opportunity. One, and like now, like these
Mhm.
athletes have their own career. You have your own career, and you kind of like, I don't know if you have any relationship with them now, but you can mesh with them and see how
Yeah.
they're at, and learn from them. They learn from you. But
Yeah.
going back to like the basketball sense, being a 1,000-point scorer at Cumberland, like run me through your basketball journey in high school. What it was like playing with like Marquette guard now, Tyler Kolek, and like, do you have a relationship with him now?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we all try to stay in touch. I try to stay in touch with Ty, whenever he left. I remember after our sophomore year ended, or my sophomore year, his junior year ended, we were coming in the classes towards the end of the year, and I was just talking to him. I was like, so what's it gonna be, man? What's it gonna be? I was like, you with us next year? And then he broke the news. He was like, sadly, I don't think I'm gonna be here. And I was like, hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Like look at him now. Like you never want to halt someone's success just for your own happiness. Like obviously it
exactly.
sucked not being able to play with the kid, because if the kid was in the real, we probably would have walked through that year
Yeah,
sleeping. But it was a blessing and a curse at the same time, because you're losing literally the best player like Cumberland has ever seen, and one of the best players the real has ever seen.
hmm
And you're moving up a division too, like
yeah,
that year we D2 to D1. But as far as like basketball and like the relationships, it's pretty cool, because like my freshman year, we had guys like Trevante, who's now an NFL draft kind of contender. He's fighting for a spot, he's fighting for a draft pick. We had guys like Peter Wilson, who was a phenomenal athlete, Jaywan, Stephen Laura. Those guys were great. Me being a young guy on that team, on like a freshman team, that JV team, you really like you kind of knew them, but you really didn't have much relationship, obviously, because they're doing their own thing. You're trying to work on your game as a freshman.
exactly.
But when I transferred back to Cumberland, it was pretty cool, because as far as football and basketball, I was accepted with open arms, from both coaches and both teams. They welcomed me with open arms, and it was super fun for basketball, because me, Tyler, and Jackson had like played middle school together, so we already had some chemistry, and some of the guys that were on that team already, like we already had chemistry. So it wasn't really like I was walking into a brand new setting. Like for me, it was St. Ray's was the brand new setting. For me,
hmm
Cumberland was kind of just like returning home. So once we all started to get in the gym before the season even started, that's kind of where I figured out Tyler's work ethic too. Is like, man, I'm in football season, and I'm seeing this. I'm walking out of practice, I'm seeing this kid come into the gym, start putting up hundreds, thousands of shots each day. And towards the end of my football season, I'd be like, all right, hey, you think I can roll with you to the gym today? And of course, man, he was never one to turn anyone down. He loved the work.
Yeah.
His work ethic really is a testament of where he is now and how hard he worked. So I really just got to shout him out, man. That's really my guy. Proud of him. And it's cool, like with Jackson too, because Jackson's up at Dartmouth.
hmm
So it's like to be able to watch these guys who are like I played with at a young level compete at a high level, and at the next level too, because not too many people get to do that. So that's really the coolest thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even know Jackson went to Dart. So he goes to the same schools you do.
Yeah.
So
He went to Rick. He went to Rick his freshman year, and then transferred over his sophomore year, and now he's here.
yeah, well, I remember our sophomore year, we played you guys at Cumberland, and Jackson scored his 1,000-point against us. We had a couple teams do that, like throughout high school a couple times. But so like for you, what was the feeling like scoring 1,000 points, and what was your mindset like throughout the course of the game, like knowing you were probably going to score at that game?
Honestly, I didn't even know that like I was like somewhat close, because like I don't know. Honestly, when you're playing with a guy like Tyler and Jackson as a young guy too, being like third option, obviously, because those guys are so high in their element, and they're just such great athletes and scorers that you really all I needed to do was go out there and guard the best player and make a couple threes per game. So apparently I did that a lot more than I expected my sophomore year, which set me up at a good pace. And then junior year, I kind of went into more like a pass first role, because Jackson was now the guy. I had to be the point guard because Tyler wasn't there. So I went into more like a pass first role. And I think it was 3/4 of the season into the season, and we're at SK. And it was a crazy game from start to finish. There were some choice words said from a fan that I didn't really, appreciate. And then when I started off 1 for 6, he had said that, and it was like something happened to me, and I just literally caught fire for the rest of the game. I hit a 3 to go into overtime, and it was in that game that I had hit my 1,000th, and I didn't know that with the 40 ball, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Hit my 1,000th with the 40 ball, yeah. And then the next game we ran a play, open and play the game. I hit a 3, and then they just called it right there. They said no, we expected it to be this game, just the way that the way my averages were working out and like how the games are going, but nobody expected a 40 ball, to get thrown there. So it was definitely cool, and it kind of felt good to get it out in the beginning of the game, because that way you can just focus on the game. Because with accolades like that in any sport, any nature, any level you're at, especially if they're dwindling towards the end of the game, like for instance, a guy like Justin Jefferson, who just was, I think, 24 yards shy of the Vikings single season record. Kind of sucks for him now, because like he had to wait till the end of the game to get a chance. And me getting my 1,000th out at the beginning of the game, it just allowed us to focus on the game and really just get back to the real life of the game. I enjoyed the moment. It was cool. Definitely got to be blessed and appreciate that, because not too many people get to say that.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it was just really cool, man. Especially to be up there and have my name in those records with guys like Tyler and Jackson and Brandon, really great guys who came through Cumberland and put a name for themselves.
Yeah, definitely cool to look back on that for sure, no doubt. And like, playing both sports like you did, for example, like the basketball concepts and skills like help you on the football field as well, and like vice versa, did like football concepts and skills like help you on the court as well.
Yeah, it's crazy because I have one move in football that just for some reason is like my go-to, and it's kind of my basketball move at the same time.
Yeah.
It's my big long crossover, so it's like the AI crossover that I like to say. But I feel like athletically, a lot of things are interchangeable, agility wise, and like footwork wise. You can always add your flair to things in different aspects of whatever you do in life. So I kind of just took my work in life and like as an athlete more so than a strict sport, rather than just honing in on like football, basketball. When I was in high school, like obviously you would be subject to some workouts that required just basketball and just football, but for the most part I tried to get better as just an athlete and make me a better athlete and allow some of those skills and traits to be interpreted in both sports.
Exactly. So now bouncing into football now, like I know you said early on you played wide out a couple of times, and then you started to develop that QB role. So when was it when you were named like starting quarterback and you started like that was like your like final role?
Yeah.
Really?
So I only played wide out because we had an older guy above me. So him playing Q, I just went to wide out to get on the field. That I would say probably is my biggest regret. I should have just stayed at quarterback my entire career and just kind of played behind Joe and just just waited my turn, honestly, because quarterback was my first love, but I wanted to do anything to help the team win, and I'll do anything to help my team win. So I just had to stick it out, play wide out for a couple of years, but I actually enjoyed it. And there's one thing that I liked about wide out was coming from quarterback, you understood what you wanted your wide out to do, and you kind of understood like how defenses would react to certain things as your wideout does them. So me being able to transition into wideout, I think that helped me a lot, and that made it a smoother and easier process for me, because it allowed me and Joe to just be on the same page a lot. And I think that's where you saw some of the games where I had a lot of yards or a couple of touchdowns, was just being able to understand the space, understand where to be, where not to be, leverage, and all those good things. All those things you really want to focus in on when you're right at the line of scrimmage. So I would say early on to wide out, it was an adjustment period, but then when I switched over to quarterback, it was kind of like riding a bike. As soon as I hopped back on the bike, I was like, hey, we're back now. And I never kind of fell away from quarterback either. With Joe being the starter, I was always, I was the backup, God forbid he went down. And he actually did go down my sophomore year. So towards the end of my sophomore year, I was able to get my first start at quarterback against Rogers. I ended up going for 380 and like 3 touchdowns, which is pretty cool. So and then we got absolutely like cracked by Hendrick in the next game in the first round of playoffs.
Yeah.
And playing Hendricken, seeing guys my freshman year, like Kwity Paye. I saw him live in action, a guy like Xavier Truss live in action.
Yep.
And Jason Onye, who's at Notre Dame, being on the field with those guys, it's crazy to think about, because you see some of the things they were doing at a high school level, and you're just like, they're able to produce at the highest of high levels, like Xavier just got a national championship with Georgia. And Kwity with Michigan was just a dog for 4 years. And look at him now in the NFL. So it's like, to be able to say that, like, I maybe not shared the field, but I was able to, see what they were doing, and I was able to watch them in Rhode Island. I think that was really cool. Shout out to all the Rhode Island ballers, man. And then my senior year, when I kind of got called back to quarterback, it was really fun, because a lot of the guys like already knew that I had played quarterback. So after my junior season, like, we just got right into it as I was a quarterback, and it felt like I had like been there my entire career at Cumberland. The way that Coach Lima, handled things, and the way that our wideouts were just so punctual with what they did. That's a credit to our wideout coach from the previous year. Just really being foundational for those young guys who ultimately would step up. Because my senior year, we were a young team in both sports, football and basketball. We really didn't have a lot of seniors that contributed at our school for sports as far as like football and basketball. But it was really fun, man. And I was just blessed to get back out there as quarterback, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to like those guys like Kwity and Xavier, like, so but like, obviously for you, being like an opponent, and especially like their teammates, just to see, where they're at now, and it gives like everyone kind of like a confidence booster. Like, if they can do it, like, why can't I do it? You know what I mean?
It's man. I've been just focusing on those guys, man, and I'm just kind of trying to run my own race and just meet them at the top. It's really, really cool to see guys like that coming out of Rhode Island and definitely producing at a high level. So that's something, like you said, it gives every one of us hope. And now if you're a Rhode Island person, you're seeing a lot of guys are getting offers. You're seeing a lot of guys are getting that finally getting that exposure that Rhode Island always needed.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's a 45-minute drive up and through Rhode Island doesn't mean we don't got talent here. Exactly. I think one thing that I will say. So I've been at school with I go to school in Mass. So we get majority Massachusetts kids, majority Connecticut kids. And the one thing that we'll always battle about is, we'll say Mass is only good because of the 8 divisions, and we'll like joke about it. Obviously,
they have 8 divisions.
They have like 7, but it's like, I'm not trying to trash on the MIAA. I think Rhode Island's special because we don't do the school size thing. We have a school like Moses Brown with I don't know how X amount of kids and a low X amount of kids. And they're playing Division I football, and if you're a Rhode Island kid, so the real is consistently, like, I think the way the divisions go, it's like the best on the best, like it dwindles down as you go deeper. Like, obviously, some competition falls off and you find your gems throughout those divisions. But as far as like the Division I, the Division II, 3, and 4 in Rhode Island, D1, you kind of get the great teams in Rhode Island, and then it just kind of trickles down from there. But then in Mass, it's weird because they go off of school size. So like you'll have, to us, they'll have like a gem in like D7, which is nowhere near close to like what we have in Rhode Island. So it's like we're like, we go back and forth with them, like, oh, if we were in D6, we could get just as much as exposure as you guys. But I heard Connecticut's the same way. They do like similar 4 divisions, so it's pretty cool. And it just sucks because a lot of guys get overlooked just because we're a 45-minute up and through travel, and we only have 4 divisions. But like we got a lot of gems here, and it's hard to choose out the gems at the highest level in Rhode Island because they're all battling against each other at the whole time. They're not battling other school-sized teams, which like some schools field 30 kids, some schools field 80 to 90. So like it's any given Friday at that point.
Yeah, definitely. I like you learn something new every day. I don't even know that Mass had 7 divisions.
And obviously it's because Mass is so big. They're huge in itself. But it's like they do have some divisions where it's like the really, really good teams are in that division. But like, because Mass is so big as a whole, when you look at the divisions, you'll find a great player playing in like one of those divisions because of his school size. Like he doesn't get the chance to go up against the best, and some of those kids, because of their school size, are forced to play against one of like the great kids of Mass.
Yeah, we say Mass is so big because we're from around. Like we don't even know like
Yeah,
other side of the country. Like
dude.
it's insane to think about like how other players have to go
Exactly.
battle through high school and stuff like that. But
Exactly.
kind of wrapping up high school, like your whole high school career and stuff like that, thinking about college. At what point did you say to yourself, like, I have to choose like one sport or the other to continue my journey at the college level? Because I'm sure like you had some offers for basketball as well, and football, like at the end of your career.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it slow as far as basketball. I don't know. I think one thing that I definitely realized, I think it was a little bit too late, maybe, but not too late because I'm blessed to be where I am. I wouldn't change anything. But at the high school level, it's really all about what exposure you can get for yourself away from high school sports. As far as like for football, you need to go to camps. You need to go to a lot of these workouts, go to these visits. And Coach Lima did a really great job of trying to implement this to us. But, some of us just had different ideas and different thought processes of ways thing went. For me personally, I thought that people like come to you, I didn't know you have to go send out your film to coaches, all of that stuff. I only did that my senior year. So it was tough because Coach Lima helped us like get a lot of exposure for football, and he sent a crazy amount of kids to play college football. And like basketball, it really wasn't like that. We kind of just showed up and played. It really wasn't any expectations of playing at the next level. And I think that's why Tyler ended up probably leaving, because he realized that, if I really want to play at a high level, I got to go get exposure somewhere, and, play under people that are going to get me exposure and get me to the next level, so I really didn't get any looks for basketball, which I kind of, I wish I did. Basketball is definitely one of the first loves. But football, with, like I said, Coach Lima did a great job at getting us exposure, telling coaches, hey, look, we got guys every year. He recycles it. He comes in, he has new coaches, he has coaches coming in and getting looks for guys. He'll ask guys who wants to play college football, and he's, everyone likes to think, oh, because of the D1, D2, division thing in college, that those are the only good athletes that are being sent to play college football. But if you look at a program like Cumberland, they've sent countless amount of, D3, some D2 athletes, some low D1 athletes, from the time that Coach Lima's gotten there. So, he's done a really great job exposing kids. So kind of just to bring it back full circle, I really was only given football looks, only football coaches had reached out. So that ended up kind of, leaving me with the choice. It's football or school. So I ended up just going with the football, and, not going to look back now.
Right. So so you're saying you had to reach out to these coaches, send them film and stuff like that. Were there any schools like more than just Dartmouth that were like, kind of like answering you back and looking your way?
Yeah, so I definitely got a lot of love from a lot of the D3 teams around New England, so I was grateful for that. We had a couple of D2s. I think it was like Assumption and Bentley come in, and then we had Holy Cross. I remember taking a visit with Coach Lima, like a literal visit to Holy Cross, and then we had, I believe, Sacred Heart come in, and there might have been one other school, but just the way that some things worked out, I was fortunate enough to choose Umass Dartmouth, and I'm here now.
Yeah, so like we said earlier, going back like to like the COVID situation your freshman year, like how did you find out about the like cancellations and everything? And did you have like any kind of like team meetings before that, or like workouts or anything like that? Or
yeah, so it kind of hit at a weird time. It kind of hit during, like, when COVID hit. It was kind of like in the commitment process. I remember being in basketball season and trying to go on I was gonna have my overnight at UMass, but we were in basketball season, and it was the week that we had we had the opening round for the divisional playoffs, and we had Woonsocket first and then Hendricken. So I told Coach McCormick, I was like, hey, I know I have the overnight this weekend, but I have a game on Friday, and if we win, we got practice Saturday, so I'm not gonna be able to do the overnight, this, that. He was like, hey man, yeah, no worries. Let's try and get you up here as fast as we can. Because Coach McCormick was showing me so much love, man. He really wanted me there, and I got to give him the credit for what UMass is doing right now. His recruiting, a lot of the guys that I talked to, I was like, yo, who recruited you? They're like, Coach McCormick. So he brought a lot of the guys there. So just going back, like I said, we're in the season, and we ended up beating Woonsocket. So I was like, okay, word. Yeah. I told Coach, I was like, yeah, sorry, Coach, we're gonna have to reschedule it. He was like, oh, no worries, best of luck. Continue going. So we ended up losing. We ended up losing to NK. I'm sorry, it went Woonsocket then North Kingston. So then we ended up losing to North Kingston the next game, and then that ended our season. We didn't even make the open. And this is kind of selfish. It's gonna sound very selfish, but I was glad that COVID hit because no one got the open run. And people only got the divisional run. No one got the state tournament run. So I was kind of blessed for that. But to bring it back to the commitment process, it was like COVID had hit that week in literally the opening round of the state tournament. So like a lot of the teams got canceled. And as soon as that got canceled, I was like, I tried to hit up Coach. I was like, so we still on for the overnight? He was like, listen, man, COVID hit around here too. So we're probably not going to be able to. So it was really tough.
Missed it. Yeah.
I literally just missed the overnight. So it was really tough to just sit there and be like, okay, I got to commit off of like, going on 2 visits, and a lot of hopes, and there's a lot of talking. I really wasn't able to see a lot. Me and Shane went on like 1 visit there and 1 visit to Southern Connecticut, but we were like, damn, like, we didn't really get this ability to go tour all these schools because we're so busy with football and basketball ourselves. It was tough to go through that, but I kind of just, after a long and thoughtful process, like every other commit says, I just ended up going with Dartmouth, and I thought that was the best thing to do. And, clearly it was, and clearly it is.
Yeah, it definitely has been, like you just said as well. Like looking back at the season that you just had, 25 touchdowns, passing touchdowns, 33 total touchdowns, like 21, like 100 yards, like just a historical year for you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. How does that feel to accomplish all those kinds of accolades and stuff like that?
I mean, it feels really cool because, it kind of just shows that the fruits of your labor are finally showing. It didn't happen overnight. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of work, a lot of long nights thinking, is this, am I really going to do this? Like, this is really what you want. And, so just going in there this season, I shouldn't even have, like we talked about in the beginning, I shouldn't even have been on the field with Steve there. Him getting hurt kind of put me in the position to, get the chance, which sucks because you never want to prey on someone. You never want to prey on injury, which is the reason why you enter, bro. So it's like with him going down, it just sucked. But, what are you going to do? It's sports, exactly. Injuries happen. So you kind of just got to go with the flow. And it really is I really got to appreciate, the guys I got around me, the coaching staff around me, because although I was a freshman coming in, it's not like they didn't hold me to freshman standards. They didn't hold any of the freshmen that played to freshman standards. It was like, if you're going to play, you're going to be held to a standard which is expected. And, if you're not competing, it's next man up, So when we got that final wake up call versus WestCon after our second loss, it was like, personally for me, it was just like, all right, like you don't get too many chances. And if you want to play in November, you want to play postseason football, it starts now. You can't, no more losses. You guys got to go on a roll. And we went on a roll, and we really didn't look back. And I think with the work that everyone's putting in right now, it's going to be really exciting to see us ball next year.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely want to try to come out there because I know one of my close friends that I grew up with in high school, Tom Zednick, one of your guys' wideouts.
He's crazy, man.
Definitely want to come see you guys play for sure because I know a lot of connections up there. Especially, basketball too. I know you said Jackson goes there now.
Yep.
But going back to like your situation, kind of like, I know it sounds like bad in a way, not like bad in a way, but like look at Brady. Like if Bledsoe wasn't hurt, Brady wouldn't have got that. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to take the good with the bad, but obviously you don't want to see anyone get hurt at the end of the day because that's just not what you want to see. But if opportunities come your way, you got to make the best out of it, like you have been.
Exactly.
So to kind of wrap it up a little bit, going back to like one of your like kind of like biggest accomplishments was like the Golden Helmet Award. I don't really know personally what that is, so like explain to me what it was and like how you were awarded it.
Yeah, so the Golden Helmet is the best performance of the week for D2 or D3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of the two divisions, and it's a weekly award. And just to put things into perspective, I love to talk so highly of this kid because he really deserves it. He worked so hard, and it sucks to see that his career was ended due to injury. But Steve played in 7 games his junior year before he got hurt, right? And he threw for, I think, 22 to 2,500 yards, around 20 to 30 TDs, and he won the Golden Helmet twice.
Mm-hmm.
So to win that weekly award twice for the best performance in D2 and D3, and win that in 7 games, like there's 3 other games that the kid missed out on. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he gets 5 Golden Helmet awards. So it's like it kind of sucks, but to just put it in the comparison of how great of a quarterback he was before I stepped in, that's why I say I stepped into a great position because he was such a great athlete, and his accolades spoke for themselves. That when I got that award, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but like we're chasing Steve, man. This kid got it, and he got two of them in only 7 games, and it took me 10 games to get one. So that's just a little competitive nature in me, but I'm definitely appreciative of it. Being there, being around a lot of high level Division I guys, and even the D2 and D3 guys that were there. It was really cool to be there because it showed that we're all competing at the highest level. We're all doing our thing, and we're all getting noticed too. I think that was the most appreciating thing that I was grateful for that night. It wasn't just a Division III banquet, it wasn't just a division. It was like a divisional banquet. It was a college banquet, and for the Northeast guys, that's really cool because a lot of us get overlooked, and we don't get a lot of love. So to see a lot of these Bryant URI teams, Sacred Heart, UNH, just surrounding areas all be at the same venue. It was just really cool to see everything come full circle.
Yeah, definitely. And like going back to like the Golden Helmet, like you said, like I said, I didn't know what it was. You say it's a combination of 2 and 3. So, for you to win that award, it's like, all right, like I could play the D2. Like it gives you a confidence booster.
Yeah,
it gives you
exactly.
Momentum to keep going and just keep getting better. And especially looking up to the quarterback, Steve, like you were talking about how he's been doing it. And, again, it sucks that he was hurt, but you want to keep looking up to him and just keep pushing and to be the best player you can. And I applaud that all day, man, all day. But that kind of wraps up our time. I appreciate all the time you got, Dante. I got one last question though before I let you go. What did you think of Cam's Corner, and who might you want to see next as a featured guest?
Yo, this is fire, man. Like I said in the beginning, I gotta tip my hat to you, bro. Keep going, don't stop, bro. You got a great thing going for you right now. If there's one person that I need to see on Cam's Corner, we already got the Camellas. You already got Angel. I might need to see my guy Shane. I might need to see my guy Shane Mirabot. Or Isaiah Cole, my fellow Cumberland guys. Or if you wanna show more Cumberland guys love, we got Ryan Larson down at WNE. Who else do we got? We got kid Dylan Powers, who's gonna make his commitment very soon. A lot of guys making their commitments very soon from the younger level. But as far as some Cumberland guys, I definitely would love to see more Cumberland guys getting some love, because I don't think Cumberland gets shown a lot of love because we're a small town and people try to overlook us, but we really got some of the best ballers in the state over here.
I'll definitely try to make the connections, reach out to these guys and get them on as soon as possible. But as far as you, man, I
if you need any help
your time.
from me, let me know. I'll definitely get you in contact with those guys, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'll reach out as soon as I can, bro. I appreciate the time again, and I hope you have a good day.
Course,
I appreciate you waking up early with me, man. I got
no doubt, man.
Pretty tight schedule, but
let me know whenever you need, whenever you want to get back into this, bro. I'm always down.
Stay safe, and I wish you well, man.
You too, man. Have a good one.
You too.